Thanks for that, Bhavya. In fact, let's take this conversation further then. We've got Aliff Fazelbhoy, who is Senior Partner at ALMT Legal, now joining in to discuss the implications of this. And Aliff, I just want to start off by getting your initial thoughts on this issue. Do you think it was a long time coming?
Thanks, Avanne. And yes, definitely it was a long time coming. They notified the rules about 3-4 months ago. So, I mean, it's long, but it's not that long. So it's definitely a welcome move. And I think this will definitely give a lot of clarity on the tax side. I'm not sure it still addresses the FEMA issue that people face, but from a tax side, it definitely gives much more clarity.
Down for our viewers and to understand this a little bit more, can you just tell us prior to this what exactly the rules were when it came to NRIs and angel tax, and now what has actually been revised?
Yes, to just take you back a little bit, the angel tax was introduced about 10 years ago, and it applied, the objects given was that there is a lot of money laundering going on by fake investment in fake company, by making investments in fake companies which were not really businesses. So this tax was introduced that if a unlisted company receives money from a resident investor more than the fair value of the shares, excess is taxed in the hands of the company. This did not apply to FDI, so really it didn't affect our FDI rules to any great extent. Since 2023, this year's budget removed the words by a resident, and therefore now it applies to all investments. And this led naturally to a lot of panic amongst the foreign investor community, saying that how can you now regulate this? And as I said, the interplay with FEMA is also interesting because under FEMA, the rules say that when you have foreign investment or FDI, the investment cannot be below the fair market value. Now, Section 56 of the Income Tax Act says that if the investment is above fair market value, it is subject to a tax. So it's very, I mean, that means you can only have one exact valuation and one exact investment price, which is practically impossible, and it just takes out any room for negotiation of investment. Besides, there were only two valuation methods prescribed under the Income Tax Act, which was the net asset value and the DCF value. Whereas under FEMA, the rules say you can use any internationally recognized valuation. Naturally, this would lead to a lot of engineering of values because now with this new rule, the price, I mean, for FEMA cannot be lower than FMB, for income tax cannot be higher than FMB. So it would lead to a lot of engineered valuation reports. And again, to get that, I mean, I don't want to say more about that. So what the rules now says that you have 5 other valuation methods which you can use. I mean, I won't get into the names of all the 5, but it's like the option price method, the comparable method, the milestone analysis method. So there are 5 additional methods prescribed which you can use for valuation. They have said that if you use one of these 5 methods, you can have a variation of up to 10%. That means if in the valuation your share value is 100 rupees a share, you can issue it for up to 110 rupees and this will not be subject to tax. The other change that they've made is on the definition of valuation date. They have said the value can be within 90 days of the investment. And they've also introduced a provision of benchmarking, where if a company has received investment within 90 days from another specified investor, and then you can use the same price without going again into a valuation exercise. So these are definitely some welcome steps. Obviously, from the community, you would expect a little more, but at least these are welcome steps. And they have included convertible preference shares within the category, whereas earlier it was restricted to equity. So yes, definitely welcome. A little bit more an interplay between FEMA and tax needs to be thought out by the authorities, but overall good.
So, just to understand it better now for foreign investors in the startups, this is going to definitely bring about quite a bit of relief, right? Don't you think that, with the kind of practical difficulties perhaps that they were facing in executing very simple transactions that involved, say infusion of capital, this is now going to push them to consummate their investments in Indian companies?
See, this law came into effect only in April, so it's quite a new rule, and it definitely put some brakes on people trying to make investments. So the new rules now have provided flexibility to some extent, not complete flexibility because we are still have to follow a valuation method which is prescribed. We still have only a flexibility of 10% plus or minus. So to that extent, there are still some restrictions, but better than what was mentioned in the budget. Not as good as it was before the budget.
Okay, so therefore you would, do you think that there is a need then within the community, to go back to what it was before the budget, and is that being actively worked upon, or are there appeals being made in order to, to ensure that you get that complete relief?
I don't think they will go back to what it was before the budget. I think the foreign investors now just have to get used to the new rules and work within this. So, I mean, the taxman is now getting more and more aggressive, coming up with more and more innovative ways, trying to plug a lot of loopholes which were used by people to avoid tax. So I don't see it really going back to pre-budget, though I wish it would for the investor community. But I think these rules are here to stay. This provision is here to stay, and we just have to live with it and work within these. But definitely, these rules is welcome.
Right, and just wanted to understand as well from your standpoint, are these rules going to be effective immediate, or how exactly is it going to work, the new laws?
Yes, I believe it's effective immediately. I haven't seen the fine print, but yes, I believe it's effective immediately.
All right, Aliff, good having you on board. Thank you so much for joining in and, just simplifying the overall topic for us, giving us an indication as to what the rules were, what they are now, and what foreign investors will really have to deal with when it comes to the startup world. Good to have you on board.
Thanks, Avanne.